Got this comment from May Melky. Robin, I'd like to see you cover how Clark could improve on defense. Is she lacking the court vision on defense that she possesses in spades on offense? To be clear, I'm a Clark fan, and I know she and the Fever have improved some on defense, but I welcome seeing your analysis on how and she and the Fever could improve. Thanks for considering. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it has anything to do with her lacking court vision. I think Clark's court vision and understanding of the game is exemplary. I think that the defense comes down to personnel, comes down to some of the lineups, and comes down to the nature of how Clark plays and physically what she's capable of. I'll show you some stuff, but let's start with the bad, okay? Before we get to the good, we'll begin with the bad. Usually people like the bad news first, right? These are the highlights from the Lynx and Fever game the other day. Let me go back to this section right here. You can see Clark on defense. All right, takes a bad angle, goes past the fake, little undisciplined, doesn't recover on the shot. So that's just a little bit of not being locked in focus-wise, and also bad discipline on the play from Caitlin Clark on that particular possession. Then we'll go to this one. This is after a Dantas make here, I'm sorry. And you'll just see Clark just gets beat with the quickness on that one. And I think that is one of her issues defensively. One of her biggest issues defensively is lateral quickness. So moving horizontally one way to the other. I think, she can get beat by the quicker guards and players, especially when she's tired. I think that's the other thing that needs to be taken into consideration when watching any of this stuff is that Caitlin Clark takes up such a role and load on the offensive end that it's going to be impossible to ask her to play defense at the same level for the rest of the game, right? Like, it's going to be impossible. So let's look at this section right here. Thanks to Barack Obama there. And you'll see again, she goes too far on the closeout on this play. Where are we at here? Let's run it back one more time. It's coming the other way. Boston with the good putback. That's a good sign for the Fever. But you see Clark here, all right, overcommits, and then is slow-footed to recover, and then has to commit the foul as a result. So that's just some of the bad defense from Caitlin Clark in that game. Now, what do I think is the real culprit for the Indiana Fever's defense? I think the real culprit comes in this section right here, and is the combination of NaLyssa Smith and Katie Lou Samuelson. As you can see, Katie Lou is just too slow, and NaLyssa Smith is not paying attention on that play, so she gets beat by the cut. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Smith too slow, you got to stop the baseline on a play like that. The baseline is your defender. You put your foot on the baseline, and you keep the defender from hitting the baseline. And then Smith has to be aware of what's going on around her. There's a nice Clark attempt from the mid-range and another Boston putback. But I just want to, because this frustrates me. And you see, look, Smith just lets her player go right by her, Collier go right by her. Not paying attention. It's focus and effort with NaLyssa Smith. And then there, Katie Lou Samuelson is too slow. And she's cooked in the corner there. So that's really the problems with them defensively is Katie Lou and NaLyssa Smith. If you recall, NaLyssa Smith got destroyed by Angel Reese in that one Chicago game inside. And Smith is a really good rebounder, but she just has these lapses in focus and effort that I think hurt. And Katie Lou Samuelson is simply too slow to play where she's playing. And that is, I think, really hurting them on defense. Take that in contrast to Lexi Hull. Watch Lexi Hull on this possession and everywhere she is on defense. All right, she's on that side of the court. Here she comes over there to the top. Now she's moving, switching, picks up the next defender, drops back, still moving. Caught in another action, switches off real quick, moves her feet to stay in front and blocks the shot. That is just terrific defense from Lexi Hull, who provides energy and awareness out on the court, and more importantly, foot speed. And then when we talk about Clark, it's not as if Clark is not a capable defender. Clark is capable of making some big-time plays on defense. I think it really comes down to how locked in she is at a specific point and where we are in the game. You know, like the greats who are responsible for such a load offensively are going to have plays where they have to recover a little bit on defense, because Clark is responsible for like 64% of her own shots right now on offense, as well as setting everybody else up. So here, this play right here, you can see Caitlin locked in. All right, moves, gets over the screen, gets to the baseline, beats her opponent, blocks the shot, yells at her, gets the ball, and pushes it the other way. That's turning defense into offense. So when she's locked in, and when it comes to clutch time, Caitlin is a very capable defender, very capable shot blocker. She leads all guards in block shots this year, in fact. All guards in block shots this year. And, that's not the only time, obviously, she's blocked a shot, or else she wouldn't lead all guards in block shots. But you can also see, like on this play, which is from earlier in the year, you can see Caitlin return. You can see Caitlin getting in here, blocking another shot, and then she takes it and goes the other way, setting up Hull back to herself for the 3-ball. And turning defense into offense is one of the most important things you can do as a stalwart defensive team, especially when you have a player like Clark who is as good as she is in transition. Because I think, the Fever are going to be, when I make the LeBron James comparisons, that's another thing. Clark is dynamite in transition. And if you can get more plays where you're taking and turning the other team over and going the other way, and she's got the ball in her hands, that's going to be tough to stop. So to sum up, I think Clark's biggest issues defensively are sometimes lateral quickness, depending how tired her legs are, focus and discipline at times. And, and I don't want to say laziness, because that's a strong word, given, again, what her role is on the offensive side of the ball, because you just can't expect her to be at 100% on defense all game, given how heavy her responsibility is on the other end. With that said, Clark has the capability of being a very good defender situationally because of her size, because of her instincts, and because of her floor reading ability. And we've seen that with the block shots and other key defensive plays. I think the biggest problem for the Fever defensively comes down to the personnel, and this goes back to my request for them to change the starting lineup up a little bit, because when you have Smith and Katie Lou Samuelson out there together, it's tough. Smith can help you on the boards, but sometimes lags when it comes to focus and effort. And Katie Lou Samuelson is simply too slow, especially to be playing the 3 position, where you have a player where we've seen Lexi Hull. I think she has the best plus minus on the team. And you see why, because when she comes in there, the defensive energy, intensity, and versatility picks up immediately.